and who certainly had an impact on Doug's life. Thank you, Don. Ladies and gentlemen, Doug Brooks. Well, thank you to the University of Houston Alumni Association, obviously to our president, CEO, and MC, Mike Bidet. Also, Allie Walker, who behind the scenes organized this wonderful evening. Also, Brad, you and his talented team who put together all the videos and everyone involved in tonight's program. When I think of the total number of graduates of this great university and the small number of recipients of this honor, and after listening to the other honorees, it is incredibly humbling to be up here this evening. I do have lots of thank yous for those who were part of my Cougar experience. Mike and Connie Knight, who are here this evening. Mike and I came to the University of Houston from high school together. We had some great movie tower experiences, and Mike has had a fantastic architectural career after getting his degree here. Many of my fellow OB gangbangers and dorm buddies are here. And their impact and friendship I'll never forget. The late, great Mark Kuhlman, Dr. K, his red afro, his athletic skills, and his years working in the intramural department won't be forgotten soon. Also Sam and Lou and Barbara and Dale and Nick and Ben and Fleetwood and Satch and Buster and Mike and Chris Fowler and Bobby and Ronnie Brownstein and Lobster Man Joe Pfeiffer and Far Out Flanagan and Bob Cowan and of course, the man who was honored 2 years ago, Robert Wool, a.k.a. LaFawn. Who'd ever thought that two OB gangbangers would be described as distinguished alums? Our dream in the 1970s was to be called distinguished customers of Frenchie's Chicken on Scott Street. The gangbangers did have an amazing run in intramural those days, including when we actually became a fraternity. We created a fraternity called Omicron Beta. 3 years undefeated in softball, all-school championships. Dominance in flag football, including one all-school championship running the wishbone offense. Eat your heart out, Andre and David over there. We had the historic romp of Sigma Chi in Hoffman's Pavilion before a real Cougar game. There were some great times. Yeah, sorry. Beating any fraternity Cliff Halpin was a part of was worth it. That was the best part. From a family perspective, my older brother Lewis and my wife Marcia are here tonight. In fact, Marcia had a double knee replacement surgery 4 weeks ago in Dallas, and she drove down I-45 to be here this evening. Yes. Louis may have beat me up when I was young, but he's now the greatest big brother you could ever wish for, and he mostly just beats me in golf now. My sister Stephanie is here. When my father died and my mom was working, Steph got a raw deal, because she had to be kind of a babysitter and a sub-mom, having to take care of a bunch of irresponsible brothers. We appreciate you, Stephanie. You were forced to grow up way too fast. Thank you, baby. My two sons, Taylor and Kyle, are here tonight. Great kids who put up with an executive who traveled too much, worked too many nights and too many weekends. But now that they're 32 and 27, it feels like we're friends instead of fathers and sons. And I'm very proud of the men they've brought up to become. Thank you, Taylor and Kyle. And my wife of almost 37 years, Holly, she's a Red Raider, but we'll let it slide. She's always been my rock, supporting my crazy restaurant career and standing beside me when I had a life-threatening and life-changing injury 16 years ago. Being my wife has been a tough job, and she's been really, really good at it. Love you, baby. From the Hilton School of Hotel and Restaurant Management, it's had a great impact on me. So Coach Don Smith, this teacher who had an incredible influence on so many young hospitality students, and he still does today, because Coach Smith taught us about life as well as the hospitality industry. And now he's in his 80s, and he's still teaching many of us about how to live. It was pretty cool for me to send emails back and forth today to a teacher and a man who was bigger than life to me when I was a teenager in my 20s. Thank you, Coach. Thanks also to the Eric Club members and the Hilton School faculty are here tonight. We have 3 previous HRM grads I'm aware of that have had this distinguished honor. Patty Godfrey, Dorothy Nicholson, and Nick and Vicky Massey. realize how highly regarded the Hilton School of Restaurant and Hotel Management is around the U.S. and the world. It is on a very, very short list when people name the top programs, and we're either at the top, in my opinion, or very high on that list. Retiring Dean John Bowman has done a fabulous job in his 11 years as Dean, taking our program to new heights, and we're indebted to him for his vision and his leadership. Thank you, Dean Bowman. Also, a great relationship with Assistant Dean of Development John Schultz, Professor Emeritus Clinton Rapole, and so many others doing a fantastic job preparing young hospitality students for the real world. It is a great time, as we've talked about tonight, to be at the University of Houston under amazing President Couture's leadership. I heard this story, I don't know from who, and I don't know how accurate it is, but I was told that at President Couture's first meeting of the Board of Trustees, she looked down the table and said, anyone in this room that doesn't want to compete against University of Texas and Texas A&M, you can walk out now because you're wasting my time. And she's been kicking butt and taking names ever since. And so for a kid that had 4 years living in the residence hall and had an incredible on-campus experience, I always hated it when this university was called a commuter school. So to know that there are now 8,000 on-campus rooms, the second most of any college in the state of Texas, is warm to my soul and heart. It's awesome. So we've got Tier 1 status, $1 billion of construction, a new on-campus football stadium, the new University Center. University of Houston has never been hotter for graduates, for all of us, and I've never been prouder. And so I'll close talking about the opportunities and responsibilities I had as a student in the dorms that prepared me for the job leading Brick International. Because I took all those jobs that nobody wanted. I was the morning cashier at OB Hall, arriving every morning at 5:30 a.m. Then I became the student manager at OB Hall, arriving at 5 a.m., unlocking the doors for the kitchen staff and supervising them. I was then the student manager of the Red Barn Snack Bar in the basement of the Moody Towers. I was then the student manager for the Sunday night dinner for the athletes in the Moody Towers. I learned a lot doing that. And finally, 2 years as a student advisor in the Towers. So being in charge of 40 freshmen for a year prepares you for everything possible in later life. So those jobs gave me an opportunity learning about managing and leading people. It helped me later lead that global portfolio Fortune 500 restaurant company that had 2,000 restaurants in 50 states, 30 countries, employed over 120,000 team members, and served 400 million guests a year. It was quite a ride, but it was because of the experience I had working on campus, in the Moody Towers, in Hobie Hall, working for ARA, now Aramark, at the University of Houston. So thanks to all of you, thanks to the university for this incredible honor, and go Cougs.
Oh, Robert, here goes Robert. This is going to be good.
This can't be good. This is a special announcement again. In honor of Doug's Alumni Award, Chili's is going to have 1989 throwback ribs. They'll be marinating and marinating. But look out time. We're sick of those stories. I just want to say how proud I am of my old good buddy here. And Dan done good. Thank you.
We came out of that a lot better than I thought we would, actually.
Well, I have nothing to say after that, except the final agenda tonight will be to sing our alma mater. But before we leave, I want you to